So I'm at Pepsi. And my first job was, at the time, Pepsi had 3 restaurant divisions: Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza. Totally upmarket and beautiful products. Fantastic. And I was responsible for everything that was delivered. I soon got IT to report to me. And it was fantastic being at Pepsi. I'd come from Marks & Spencer. Marks & Spencer did everything longhand. Risk-averse, cautious, we did everything longhand. There was no shortcuts. But if you were learning, it taught you everything longhand. So I knew how to make shortcuts. I knew the implications. I knew how to do it. And I go to an organization that wanted me for being me, not for being who they wanted me to be. I'm on the board, 7 of us on the board. In those dark days, there were 7 men. And I was the Brit, the EMEA division. Every 90 days, you can earn 60% of your annual salary for absolute stretch objectives. If you've got 9 out of 10, you've got nothing. You've got 10 out of 10, yeah, son of immigrants, I'm there. I am there. I am the most focused individual you've ever met in your life. And I'm driving my team to destruction because failure is not an option. My first 9 months, I never missed a bonus. 7 days a week. 14, 15, the elongated day. You wanted to work for me, you knew the score. We're going to win. And we're going to win every single time. I wasn't perhaps as alert, didn't have the emotional antennae that perhaps I've got today. I was just seriously focused. Not realizing I was slowly but surely pissing off all my board colleagues. I'm the smart aleck who never misses a deadline. We're going to win every single time. And we went to a particular board meeting where the chief executive said, we've got an opportunity to put the largest pizza restaurant in Europe is going into Leicester Square. Who'd like to pick this up? I hadn't noticed that everyone was sitting on their hands and staring at their shoes. I couldn't take the silence. I'll have it. And Larry Cates, the chief executive, said, Rene, I'd just like you to think again. Can you honestly take this on? You know your cup runneth over. You're driving your team very hard. No, I'll have it. Well, I want to ask you a second time. And I hadn't seen that all my colleagues on the board were sort of avoiding eye contact. I took it. And as far as I was concerned, yeah, I knew we were full. But we're going to do this. It's high profile, it's visible. The Americans are watching it. And I want to win. Took it on. We'd never done a restaurant implementation. Don't care. Can learn it. Started driving. Drive. We were way ahead of schedule. We're about 6 weeks ahead of schedule. It's 22 weeks you're given. From buying it to the doors opening. We're 6 weeks ahead of schedule. Then some workman puts an axe through a cable. We're stuffed. It's not going to happen. The next board meeting, I've got to report back. We're stuffed. I've never seen such jubilant colleagues. These guys were waiting for this. And you know when you just realise you've walked into the trap? Old smart-ass, Mr. Know-it-all, this is comeuppance. I can't remember anything else being on the agenda. All I remember, Larry said, look, before we start, Rene, do you want to give us an update on Leicester Square? I said, well, gentlemen, you do realise. He said, no, speak up. And they're just leaning back, cracking fingers and waiting. My voice was breaking. You can find humility so quickly. And these guys just, as I said, we're not going to make it. He said, speak up. We're not going to make it. And they started to throw questions. Why don't you ask for help? It was mission impossible. We all knew it. Why don't you speak to any of us? We've got the people who've done it many times. Who the hell do you think you are anyway? It's about time this happened to you. And it went on. I'm talking to you now, I can feel it. 30 minutes of abuse. And I just sat there and took it. As I'm talking to you, I can feel it. I never forgot it. And when it finished, it's just, in the end, Larry pulled them off me. I was mauled to pieces. It's not the way to learn, but boy, did I learn it. And just as we're about to leave, Larry said, stop. He's learned his lesson. Gentlemen, we're a team. Cabinet responsibility. As we go out that door, nothing's mentioned about this, we're a team. You got his back. It didn't make me feel an inch better. I I ran down to the stairs, and my PA used to sit outside my office, and next to her desk, I used to keep a leisure bag. There's a leisure centre, I keep a sports bag. And all my kit in, I just picked up the kit, ran down the stairs, ran across the road, got changed, jumped into the swimming pool. Why? I was burning. I was burning. And I was close to tears. So I just started swimming. Length after length after length, and then there was a man, an older gentleman, floating on his back. I head-butted him as I was swimming. And he stood up, and he looked at me. I said, I'm so sorry. He said, you must work for Pepsi, and walked out the pool. So I ran after him. I got into the changing room, and he's getting changed. I said, how did you know I work for Pepsi? And he reached into his bag, he took out a business card. He said, if you really want to know, call me tomorrow at lunchtime. But you better be prepared to take me to a restaurant of my choice, send a car for me, and you're paying for everything. And I got home, burning sensitive, but I'm intrigued by this. The following day, couldn't resist it. I called him. I said, Donald. He said, is that Rene? I said, yes. He said, Le Gavroche. I'd never heard of the Le Gavroche. But I knew from the sound of it, this was reassuringly expensive. So, will you send the car? Send the car. So I get along to the Gavroche, and he's there. And it's obviously one of his watering holes. I know nothing. It's the first time I've been to one of those really top drawer restaurants where the only menu that has prices on is the person who's booked it, the host. So I've got a glass of water and some bread, and he's eating everything. Like everything he's eating, I'm going down looking, how much? And he's got a taste for fine wines, and I'm looking, it's just incredible. But something happened. As he was eating, he was prodding, poking, cajoling, coaxing, getting stuff out of me. By the time we'd finished eating, he said, right, here's where you are. You're not a manager anymore, you're a leader. I met with Donald for 3 years, every lunchtime, different restaurant, sent the car, paid the bill, but I realised I was investing in me. This was the best money I ever spent. He was amazing. And I thought Joe had got me to a level. Donald took me somewhere completely different. I was later to find out that he'd been a board director at Tesco in the early 60s. There was nothing about the boardroom, about leadership that he just didn't know. And he had a charm, he had an eloquence, he could articulate. It was a language that I'd never come across before. And I just couldn't get enough of this. I don't care what the bill was. Donald, Donald. Then after 3 years, we had lunch and he said to me, time for you to move. You've got nothing more to learn here. You're going to get a call tomorrow. Be positive about that call. It's your future. And this was IPC magazines, it's IPC Media Today. And they were looking for a publishing director. What did I know about publishing? I was fast-moving consumer goods, I'm a retailer. But Donald said it was going to be right, so it was right. I joined. I remember when I joined, Mike Matthew was the chief executive. Me and him just hit it off. And I'd learned a lesson from Donald. One of the most important points about the decision-making process and taking a job is your boss. That relationship is key. We all know the research. 90% of us resign from our bosses, not the organisation. I was everything Mike wanted. I was everyone else. The average length of the service on the board of IPC Media was 22 years. They'd all been steeped in magazines. It was called euphemistically the Ministry of Magazines. We're so old, so slow, so inward-looking. And new upstarts, the EMAPs, the Nat Mags, the Condé Nast were running rings around us. He wanted someone from outside the industry, and coming from Pepsi, he wanted a challenger brand. By now, I'm super confident. I'm no longer the introvert. I'm not the mouse at the back of the room. I'm supercharged confident. And in fact, I would say fearless. I didn't know about magazines, didn't care I can learn that. I didn't know about the heritage, didn't care I could learn that. The bit I did have, I had an insight into the internet. Magazines hadn't migrated online then. No one talked about content, no one talked about distribution. But I had an idea. He gave me the women's monthlies. We had Marie Claire, we had Woman at Home, we had some fantastic monthlies, the glossies. And I started running a publishing outfit. Never done it before. It was the cash cow, started to make money. Then I got sport, then I got music. Then the IT director got sacked, I took over that as well. I wanted it all. Why? We can shape the future. We took NME online. The first ever magazine in the UK to go online was NME, NME.com. Christmas 1997, we're at a board meeting, and I remember suggesting, what about a management buyout? We're a wholly owned subsidiary of Reed Elsevier, 22 businesses, 21 of them are B2B, we're the only B2C. And I'm having the conversation saying, most of my colleagues didn't know what an MBO was. We raised £860 million. Each one of us on the board owned 1% each. And January 2000, we sold it for £1.1 billion to Time Warner, which is when I left. And if I think back, CIO on the board, and I say this with I was by far the most aggressive, by far the most risk embracing. They would never have wanted to change the game. Within 3 months of going under private equity, we closed 22 magazines. I had to close them. No one else, the heritage guys couldn't do it. We closed them. This is the commercial world. It ain't about implementations, it's about the business. Then, just before, the year before I left, I got a call. It's a news agent, Golders Green. Can I speak to Rene Carayol? Yes. Said, I own a news agency, Golders Green. Wanted to let you know, Donald said if anything should happen to him, I should call you and let you know. By now, he says, Donald passed away last week. Said, funeral's on Saturday morning. Synagogue. I didn't know Donald was Jewish. Imagine having a mentor who knew everything about me. Guess how that made me feel? I turn up. There's me and the news agent, hardly anyone else. Donald lived alone with his mother until his mother passed away, then he lived alone. Never married, didn't have any children. I didn't know that. Yet we were as close as hell. News agent told me Donald was gay. I didn't know that. He's my mentor, gave me everything. Didn't know that. So that moment I thought, you know that moment when you can't live with yourself? But I thought, whatever happens, I'm going to mentor whoever I can. Because there is a moment in our lives, in our careers, when we don't quite believe in ourselves. It happens to all of us. And there's someone somewhere who takes that moment to believe in you is worth $1 trillion. And for Donald, I do, this is my team, I do 30, 40. New technology means you can do them. I've got people I mentor who live in Botswana, who are in Ghana, in Washington, DC. There's no limit to what you can do now. And the legacy of Donald will live with me forever. I can't tell you how powerful that mentoring relationship can be.